So, welcome everybody. This is a brand new format that I'm just experimenting with. I'm going to be doing an interview with someone today who's been developing with Vendure. For those who don't know me, I'm Michael. I'm the founder of Vendure and the CTO of Vendure, the company. And I'm joined today by Giorgio. Giorgio, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Giorgio. I'm live in Italy. I'm a full stack developer, and recently I found Vendure, and we will talk about Qwik, another cool framework. I integrate Vendure and Qwik to create something really cool.
Yep, good. And we'll be diving into that. I'm going to give a little bit of background about how we met because I think it's a good story. So we were both at the We Are Developers World Conference this summer in Berlin. I was in the speakers lounge, and then Misko walked in, who, if you don't know, he's the creator of Angular and AngularJS. And I'm a long-time Angular user. So I went up to Misko and I said, I would just like to say thank you for the work you do with Angular and the effect it's had on my career. And he was very friendly. And he then said, oh, do you want to see what I've been working on recently? So we sat down at the table in the speaker lounge. He got out his laptop and he's fired up these demos that he's been building with Qwik. And Giorgio, you just happened to be there at the time as well, didn't you?
Yeah. The same with me. So I stopped him for a selfie because he's a creator of Angular and I really love Angular as well. And he stopped me to show me some cool demos about Qwik.
Yeah. And I think we spent about maybe 45 minutes sat down with him. He showed us all sorts of stuff. And I was really blown away by what I saw with Qwik, and we'll see the technical details. But in my mind, it's really the next step in front-end frameworks. The way it approaches the problems of how to keep a page performant and how to handle problems of like hydration and SEO and all this kind of stuff is very novel. And when I saw it, I thought, this is perfect for e-commerce. And I said to Misko, I'm working on this e-commerce framework, and I think Qwik would go together really well with it. And he was like, yeah, it would be great to have a demo. And then Giorgio was there. He's like, I can do it.
Yeah. Perfect timing to create a big cool application. Yeah.
And so you were brand new to Qwik. I think everyone's brand new to Qwik at this stage. It's still very new, but you're also brand new to Vendure, right? You never used it before.
No, never used. And I found Vendure really easy to use. Documentation is really well written, and you can find a lot of info in it. And also, Vendure has a Slack community. So in it, you can find support for your issues or questions.
The Slack community is very helpful. So let's talk about Qwik. So here we're on the Qwik homepage. So the URL is qwik.builder.io. So this is Qwik. Giorgio, could you just give a very high level description of what Qwik is and why it's different and why it's interesting?
Okay, Qwik is a new framework with a lot of new concept like resumability. Most of the current modern frameworks are using iteration idea to perform the server-side rendering works and jobs. And with resumability is quite different from iteration. So the idea starts from virtual machines. When you create a pre-cached virtual machine, you can ship it to the end user, and the user start and resume the image from a current status. So with this idea in mind, the Misko and team create a framework, and the server will manage some task for you, and then serialize the info into the HTML, and the client will resume the rest of the jobs. So basically, with hydratation, so the normal server-side rendering frameworks will do twice the job. So in the server, and then ship the code, and the client will do again the same job.
Mm-hmm.
With resumability, this new concept with Qwik, you do only once. So server do some stuff, serialize the data into the HTML, and then the client will resume the rest of the tasks. So it's really fast.
It's quick, you could say.
Yeah.
Aptly named. Okay. Let's see what we can look at. So there are some examples maybe that
Yeah.
give us an idea of what's going on here. We can see what a component looks like. I think this is probably quite familiar now because pretty much every framework is using this component-based approach, this architecture. And so we have this component $sign function that's exported by Qwik. And in there, we're returning, is this JSX that we return?
Yeah, really similar. So, by the way, I'm a React developer, and I also use the Svelte, and the syntax is really similar. So for me, it was like a zero learning curve for use Qwik.
Cool. Okay. And so let's see. I guess this is live. So let's see. Hello, Qwik. Vendure. Okay. So this is auto updating. We've got a counter here, which is another typical kind of demo app that you see with front end frameworks. So we've got a use store. It's like a hook, I guess. I don't know. Do they call them hooks in Qwik as well?
Yeah, the hook for like hold the state of your application.
Okay, let me get a bit more space here. Okay, and on the click handler, we actually just increment this count. Okay, so it's almost like we're mutating that. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but there's something interesting going on here. We say pause in the console down here. It says paused in server and then resumed in client.
Yeah. If you open the network tab, you can see that some JavaScript is downloaded.
Maybe we refresh this, and we on the JavaScript tab right here. I'll remove all that JavaScript, and if I press now, if I click on the button here, we see that it's now downloaded 3 more JavaScript files.
Yeah.
And this is the one of the cool things about Qwik, right?
Yeah, because Qwik and the startup is ship only HTML and JavaScript needed for the viewport. So ship only the things that the user need to interact with the current viewport. And then when you click in some button and they need more JavaScript that Qwik didn't ship in the first bootstrap, in a really clever way, lazy download all the chunks for you.
Okay. So on a typical app, when you first load the page, you don't really need very much JavaScript, right? You're just showing some images, showing some text, and other than that, nothing special needs to happen. And it's only really when the user starts to interact with things, click buttons and so on, that's when the JavaScript is actually doing something dynamic. So what you're saying is with Qwik, actually, we don't even load that JavaScript until the point when the user takes that action, does some interaction with the DOM.
Yeah, the client resume the server job, let me say, and then when the user click in some part that needs some JavaScript, with a lazy download all the things that needed. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just do this again just so everyone can see this. So I'm going to click the button again, and as I do that, it's downloading the actual code that's required to execute this increment the counter. So before I press that, it's just not even on the client.
Yeah, and this is another great benefit, because if you have a complex application, you know that the bootstrap is really fast, because if your application is big in the most of the other framework, you have to download all the dependency, all the JavaScript for the whole application. With this approach, the application starts immediately, and then when the user click on somewhere, the framework will download the JavaScript. So
Okay.
the payload will remain the same. The JavaScript payload remain the same if you have a big application.
Okay. So this, I think this becomes clear now why this is really interesting for something like e-commerce, because in e-commerce, it's very, very important to have like a fast user experience, to have a fast page load, and not to have to download and parse and execute lots and lots of JavaScript. So an approach that I've been using on my project so far is to do things like lazy loading, to split routes and to only load JavaScript for the particular route that you're on. But it requires a lot of like thought and manual wiring up, and it's complex, right? So
Yeah.
Qwik seems to just give you this completely out of the box. You'd never have to think about it as a developer. Is that right?
Yeah, right. This is really cool stuff.
That is really cool. Okay, so let's take a look at what you've been building then, okay?
Yeah.
So this is right here. This is our Vendure Qwik starter. You can see the URL qwik-storefront.vendure.io. I'll just click around. So we've got our landing page. We've got our different categories. Let's have a look at the electronics. And now we see a list of products. We can filter them. Let's see, filter the photo things. Okay. Look at the product, add to cart, and so on. So we've got all the standard e-commerce functionality in here, and not only that, it seems to be running really fast. So we've been talking about Qwik's benefits for a quick download, fast initial page load, and so on. So I guess we should test that, right? Let's go to on product detail page. So this is something typically in like someone search for something online, they see a search result, they click through to it, and then the question is, what is the experience going to be like when they click through and they land on this product detail page? So let's do a live test. Let's go on page speed insights and paste that URL and analyze it. And let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Ooh, the moment of truth. Okay, well, that's a pretty nice result. We would not even pre-plan this. This is the first time we're trying this live. So we've got 100 performance, which is as good as you can get. Everything's green here. So let's see. First contentful pane, 1 second. Speed index, 1.4 seconds. Let's see what else is interesting. Total blocking time, 10 milliseconds.
Yeah.
No, this is like nothing. Time to interactive, 1.3 seconds. And you can see here on the snapshots, it's like there's one white screen and then everything just looks as it should from then on. And that's mobile, I just noticed, which is typically having lower score than desktop. And so desktop is, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Everything's almost zero. So it's like loading like a hello world HTML page or something. It's about as performant as that.
Because basically, if you think what we saw and we said before, it's like this, is JavaScript and HTML. Mm-hmm. Only few JavaScript and HTML. And then if the user will click somewhere, Qwik download the rest of the application for you.
And we've deployed this project onto Cloudflare pages, right?
Yeah. And the application, by the way, is using real API. It's not a mock application, but is using a public Vendure API. So it's really amazing.
That's right. So we've got so the whole architecture of this page, and to get this performance, we've got the Qwik app, and it's running on Cloudflare pages. That means it's distributed to all these edge servers around the world. So you're gonna when you make the request from anywhere in the world, you're gonna find a server very close to you, which is actually going to execute the server-side rendering at that edge server. However, it does have to make an API call to our public Vendure instance, which is running, I believe, on a $5 DigitalOcean box somewhere in the EU region. Vendure's pretty fast, so we can do that. We can run a very low-powered instance and still manage to serve these requests in, lightning fast speeds. So I wanted to just jump into the network tab on this as well, because what we saw before about how we defer the loading of JavaScript until interaction, that's interesting in this case because, for example, we have a shopping cart up here, and this shopping cart is its own component. It has a bunch of logic associated with it, like how to increment, decrement, to delete something from the cart. It's, there's a little bit to it. So presumably this doesn't have to be loaded when we load our page, all this shopping cart component and logic, right?
Yeah.
So if I click on it, let's see what happens. So we're in the network tab. We're looking at JavaScript. So I'll click on the cart here. And here we see the actual component just for the shopping cart gets loaded, and it's very tiny. It's like less than 1 kilobyte for each, or just around 1 kilobyte for each file or so. So once we've loaded that, then we've got full interactivity, interacting with the API. I think if we jump over to the GraphQL network, we can see that, yeah, we're actually interacting with our Vendure API right here on each interaction. And I can remove that now, remove order line. Cool.
If you click again to the icon, you can see that the JavaScript is also pre-cached. Yeah.
That's a good point. So now all right, I'll refresh just so we see the whole thing from start to finish. So I'll open it the first time. Okay, we just get that. That's really interesting. So now, this is amazing. So now we just get one JavaScript file.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of guessing that's because there's nothing in the cart. So if I add something to the cart, it's now loaded these two. And now it loads more. So it's so granular. It's literally deferring even the components within the shopping cart because it knows that they're not being displayed. So it doesn't even need to load this component containing the order line because there was no order lines. Now I wasn't even expecting that. That's very, very impressive that it is smart enough to figure out like this whole dependency graph of what component actually needs to render. But now we've loaded all that, and I close it and I open it. So we don't need to load more than once. So that's the point, right? It's cached.
Yeah.
Very cool. I wanted to talk about Qwik City as well.
Yeah, Qwik City is the part of Qwik that enable you to render your application server side and also to be compliant with the SEO stuff, with the search engine optimization tags. And so you have a structure like like Next.js, let me say. So you have the routes folder, and then in it you can place your files, and Qwik City for you serve the endpoints.
Okay, so Qwik City would be the equivalent with for React, like Next or Svelte Kit. It's kind of it gives you the whole framework so you can build out a full app rather than just how to make components.
Yeah, Qwik is the engine, and Qwik City is the Next.js of Qwik.
Okay.
You can expose also routes like endpoint, get, posts, like many other frameworks.
I'm here on the repo now. This is available on GitHub. You can look at the source. You can play with it. You can clone it and look around. So if we look in the source folder, okay, roots. So I guess this is like the Qwik City part as well. So we have file-based routing, a bit like Next.js. So products, and then we have the slug kind of param.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what this looks like. Okay, so we export default a Qwik component, and then Qwik is giving us some kind of tools, utilities like use location, use store. We saw that before for state, used context. Okay, and the really cool thing is this storefront is based on a remix storefront that I built a while back, which I'll show right here. Remix storefront. So this is one I built with Remix. You'll notice it looks like pretty much exactly the same as the Qwik one. And what was nice is because Qwik is using JSX and we built it with Tailwind, you could pretty much just copy paste like most of the stuff from a Remix project or a React project, and you can paste it into Qwik components, and it more or less just works, right?
Yeah, more or less, yes. I started from the Remix storefront, and then I create the Qwik one. But for me, it was, let me say, quite easy.
That's cool. Okay. Is Qwik ready? Is it ready for production? What do you think?
Yeah, and currently they are stabilize the API, and I think soon it will be ready for the production. And for some domains like e-commerce, makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. And the Discord is worth mentioning as well, because that's where like a lot of the development is happening, isn't it?
Yeah, you can join the Discord server to give us some helps or get some answer at your questions.
Yeah, and it's pretty active, and the core developers are like in there like every day, aren't they? And it seems like they're actively shaping the APIs. I'm not open, Discord's not opening. They're actively shaping the APIs. They're soliciting feedback from users, and it's really like, it seems like a collaborative effort where they're listening to what people need and what they want, and taking the advice on board, and then like working as a team to develop a really, really nice API, a nice whole system that they've got there.
Yeah.
So that's all the questions that I wanted to cover today. I would like to thank you very much for your help on making this storefront. I think it's going to be, once Qwik is stabilized in terms of the API, it's going to be a really, really good option for people who want to have an extremely fast, modern e-commerce solution. You've laid the groundwork for that, and I think we're going to keep developing it and making it into a full-featured e-commerce storefront.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so thank you, Giorgio. It's been a pleasure working together, and let's keep going, and let's see how far we can push this Qwik storefront.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
goodbye.